So what's up guys, I thought I would come on and do a little video for you guys this evening. So you guys probably noticed that I'm in a little bit pleased with myself. Um, and I'll tell you for why. So tonight, this evening, I emailed both the NSPCC and the Surrey Social Service Emergency Department team with relations to the safeguarding concerns regarding the sacconejolys. Now, I have received an email back from the Surrey Social Service Emergency Department team confirming that my concerns have been noted and they will be reviewed appropriately. I guess that means that they'll be looking into them. I mean, sure, obviously the concerns that I raised were safeguarding concerns, so surely if someone raises safeguarding concerns, they have to look into them, that's what I'm thinking. To be honest, I don't feel bad about the fact that I emailed both the NSPCC and the Surrey Services Emergency Department team. I think it was, the right thing to do. Someone had to do it, I think it had gotten to the point where someone had to do that. Obviously, I'd seen so many people online, TikTok and other, on other social media platforms, saying that they needed to be reported, and that's why I did it. You know. I have given the Surrey Social Services Emergency Department team my phone number so if they can call me, if they need any additional information, they can get in contact with me. I said, don't hesitate to do that if you need to. Whether they will or, they will need any additional information on, I don't know. But, obviously I'm still waiting on a reply from the NSPCC. Whether I'll get a reply from them, I don't know. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. But at least I've emailed them and I've said, this is what's going on, this is the situation, this is what, these are the things that he's doing, Um, I was as descriptive as I could be, you know. I basically said everything that I felt needed saying, you know. I'm happy that I've done that, that I've emailed them, because I think it's the right thing to do. It's the sensible thing to do and the appropriate thing to do. You know, as I said, someone had to do it. Someone had to email them. Someone had to say, look, this is what, he's doing. Someone had to be the one to report them to the social services, and if I was the one to do that, then so be it. At the end of the day, I'm not going to have any sympathy for either Jonathan or Anna. I think it has gotten to, that's the point it's gotten to. It has gotten to that point where they ultimately need to be reported for the things that they do, because the things that they are doing are extremely bad, and extremely disgusting to a point where they absolutely do deserve to be reported, for what they're doing, you know. I even mentioned about the fact that Anna blocks people that show genuine concern, and has blocked people for calling her out over this. Um, I did sort of mention that they've been warned, a number of times with relations to safeguarding issues and things like that. I did email the Social Services Emergency Department team a couple of months back, as obviously Jonathan had posted videos online where showing Alessia in a bikini. It was when they were on holiday in Cyprus. Was it Cyprus? No, I think it was when they were on holiday in Barbados. He uploaded at least 3 different videos that featured Alessia in a bikini, which I thought was somewhat inappropriate, and I did, and at that point I emailed them and I said, this is what the situation is, this is what, is going on. I remember back in 2023, I was emailing the NSPCC quite often, because I was seeing a lot of things going on that kind of concerned me a little bit, and I felt warranted them being reported. And I remember I ended up being paid a visit from a police officer, because obviously the NSPCC had got in contact with the police and said, look, if obviously they got in contact with them and said, look, we've had a large volume of emails, and um, concerns about this family in particular, you know. And I remember at the time, not only was I like contacting NSPCC and sending them emails about, about sacconejolys, but also the Inhams as well. Um, but I don't think I was reporting the Inhams nearly quite as much as I was reporting the sacconejolys at the time. I think I was probably reporting them, reporting them every single day, for various different reasons. I think at the time, I think I was, as obviously this was a time where Jonathan was kind of very heavy, really badly exploiting, you know, EDB and trans, and the focus was quite, was quite heavily on that at the time. You know, there was so many, it was like it felt like every day, or even off every other day, Jonathan was posting a video that was somewhat related to ED being trans, and it just got to the point where that was completely unnecessary. To the point where he was basically quite clearly exploiting that, and I felt that he deserved to be reported for the way that he was exploiting that. Amongst other things, as I said, there were a lot of things at the time that I felt warranted, both of them being reported. And that, I think that, I've seen a lot of things recently, fairly recently, that have warranted both of them being reported. And I think the fact that I've sent these emails tonight and this evening, I'm not, I don't feel bad about that, because it was something that needed to be done. You know, I wanted to show that someone is willing to do whatever it takes to try and put a stop to this. And if emailing, social services is, the right way to go about things, then so be it. And I would encourage, I'm here to encourage other people to do the same, because I think that it would be the right thing to do. I feel like the more people that report them and voice concerns, the better, because it might encourage social services to actually step in and do something. I did say that I think Jonathan needs to be investigated and needs looking into a matter of great urgency. Um, I did had it in the email that I sent to the social services emergency department team. I said to them, this is the situation. That there are, people are deeply concerned at the moment. I also expressed concerns, about what Jonathan would be doing because I fear that Jonathan would be doing, a lot of bad things to his behind the scenes, and I expressed that I was kind of, very, very scared about the extent of what the kids were being exposed to behind closed doors, um, and that obviously I do fear that. I do fear what they're being exposed to behind closed doors. I fear that they're being exposed to a lot of really bad things behind closed doors. And I mean, I don't like to think that, but I can't help but think that at the moment. It's that thought that's always in my mind, that they could be being exposed to a lot of bad stuff behind the scenes. You know, it's just, I don't think that's something that can really be ruled out. You know, hopefully, me emailing me, I think it was the right thing to do. And as they said that they've taken note of my concerns and they will review them appropriately. I guess what review them appropriately means is they will look into them. That's what that means, is that they've taken note of my concerns and that they'll look into them. a little bit. Like they'll look into them and they'll investigate them. You know, and like they'll look into they'll look into things. Which is what I think they need to do anyway. They need, because obviously this is, what as I said, the concerns that I raised with the Surrey Social Services Emergency Department team this evening were or are safeguarding concerns, and I think, and I mean, surely when someone raises safeguarding concerns, they have to look into that, you know, and I think they need to look into that, with a matter of great urgency. Someone, the way I see it, someone has to do something about what Jonathan is doing. And I felt that maybe, I've always felt that reporting them would be the right thing to do. So many other people, online have said that he should be reported. I've seen accusations of people using others to try and defame Jonathan. There's no kind of defaming or anything going on here. People are not posting defamatory comments. It has nothing to do with that, technically speaking. Um, I think this really did need saying, and I don't feel bad for saying for saying the things that need saying. I don't feel bad for having that, for having the opinion that I have about this. Um, I think if Anna had done something about this a long time ago, I wouldn't, and had actually put a stop to this a long time ago, I wouldn't have reported them. I wouldn't have sent those emails that I sent this evening. But I felt like, people have not really been left with much else of much of a choice. Like there's no real choice, but no real other option but to report them, and report these safeguarding, as a safeguarding concern, because this is what it is. It is child safeguarding concerns. There are some very serious safeguarding concerns and very serious safeguarding issues going on here that need looking into. You know, this is a series. This is as serious as it is now. There are a lot of so there are some pretty serious safeguarding issues going on here with it, with them, and people have every right to be concerned. They are rightly concerned for the right reasons. People are not wrong to be concerned about this. Now, you can't blame people for being concerned about this because it is so bad what he's doing. It's so wrong. We all know it's wrong. We all know that what he's doing is completely unacceptable. You know, I'm sure that I think we all know that Jonathan and Anna are probably fully aware of the backlash and the negative attention they're getting, right across, or across all social media platforms right now. And I'm sure they're loving that. I'm sure they're as we all know how much they love the negative attention and backlash they get. I'm sure Jonathan's in particular is loving that more than anything else, as he thrives off of that. You know, a lot of the things he does purely for a negative reaction. I mean, you think that the thing is, like, there have been some videos, like, where there have been some, like, inappropriate comments. There was one the other day, I saw someone that posted a comment asking for more gymnastics videos. And I was like, I mean, yeah, that could be completely innocent, but it could also be a child predator. I mean, a child predator that's asked, as I think we all know, it's only really child predators and people with dodgy intentions that would ask for things like that. You know, I think we all know there's only one real reason why somebody would be asking for more gymnastics videos. No normal decent person would ask for that. Would ask for more of those videos. You know, when someone asks for like more gymnastics videos, you can't help but think that that person has dodgy intentions. Um, but yeah, as I said, I'm glad I sent these emails this evening, and I would encourage others to do the same. So I'll leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you for another one soon. I'll see you for another video tomorrow, actually. Bye bye.